Psychology 1101, Student Learning Outcome by Tammy Norton. The title of my presentation is How Intro to Psychology in a Chocolate Bar Saved My Marriage. The challenge. I walked into the classroom on the first day and immediately thought, this isn't a psych class, it's group therapy. There were no student desks and the chairs were set in a circular arrangement, all facing the center of the room. We were face to face not only with the instructor, but with every student. We were told to, quote, leave the things we carried in on the tables behind us, a comment I quickly recognized as more metaphorical than literal. From the first day, Dr. Will made it clear that this class was going to require stepping outside of our comfort zones. He challenged us to leave as different people than the persons that had walked through the door on that first day. My only thought was, challenge accepted, Dr. Will, challenge accepted. But now I had to choose my challenge. That came during Chapter 8, Motivation and Emotion. Why? It was a pretty intense exchange in class when Dr. Will got face-to-face with me, literally. He kept asking questions about why I had returned to college, why I did it, why did I do it, why didn't I do something else? If I didn't need a new career, why was I pursuing a new degree? Why? These were the questions he kept repeating. I was hearing something totally different in my mind. In my mind, the questions were, why are you still married? Why haven't you left? Why do you stay? Why? Out loud in class, my answer to Dr. Will was, because I want to be here, not because I have to be here. Because I want this. I'm here by choice. And then, bingo. With one quick statement, I had answered his questions and mine. So after weeks of wading through a list of things I felt would be welcome changes in my life, I decided to commit myself to addressing the biggest challenge I was facing, and that was my marriage. From the outside looking in, I have an incredible life, one many people might even envy. Even from the inside looking in, it's pretty incredible, but I do have a dirty little secret. I don't love my husband. I'm married to a very handsome man that provides very well for our family. We work together to manage our house and are both very active in raising our 3 boys. We do not have money problems. Mentally and physically, we're all fairly healthy. We have a large, eclectic group of friends that are very near and dear to us. We stay very active in our community through volunteering with scouts and a homeless mission. We have leisure time to enjoy traveling and other hobbies, and we support each other's interests. So, why am I no longer in love with my husband? I want to be, but I'm not. So what is this elusive, quote, love, and where do I find it? The science of love. I guess most of us need to admit that we look at love the wrong way. One of the funniest exchanges in class happened between Dr. Will and Caitlin, one of the younger students. Dr. Will asked Caitlin if a young man had ever said to her, Caitlin, I love you with all of my heart. She giggled and said no. He said, good, because you can't love with your heart. And he gestured as if pulling the heart from his chest with his hand and giving it to her. He said, it's bloody. It's messy. If a boy says that to you, you had better run. Of course, we all laughed. He then pointed to his head and said, in your brain. That is the organ where love is. The exchange was humorous and a tad bit elementary, but the message was very powerful. My mind immediately went to the song, Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places. It was clear, though, love didn't reside in the skipped a beat when I saw you heart or among the butterflies that flutter in the stomach when he touches you. Love is in the brain. Love resides in the synapses of our brain, those tiny spaces between neurons in which dopamine and serotonin flow and cause pleasure to resonate. My solution was clear. If I could fill those synaptic gaps with the right chemicals, then love would flow. Now that I'm armed with the answer to my challenge, I needed to figure out how to get from there to here. Searching for solutions. And the 2 places where the solutions weren't. There were 2 quotes that Dr. Will used during class that stuck with me. One was when he said, I have never seen anyone cured by God. It wasn't a statement of faith or a statement of any lack of faith, but a statement of truth. He had personally never witnessed it happen. My takeaway from the conversation was the acknowledgement that if my marriage was going to be fixed, I had to fix it. No single other person or thing was going to fill those gaps. It was going to have to be me. No more praying for a miracle, no more waiting for a sign, no more projecting the responsibility on God to, quote, fix it. For me, this was the epitome of dissecting and applying the meaning of psychology, the study of mental processes and behavior. Instantly, I saw prayer and meditation differently. I realized I needed to move beyond just the mental process, my thoughts, dreams, desires, and start working on my behavior. The second thing Dr. Will said was, I don't prescribe pills. Let's face it, we all want a quick fix, a magic pill, and I'm no different. For me, my, quote, pills were self-help books. I read book after book after book about the language of love, his needs, her needs, learning to love again, the gift of gratitude, etc., etc., etc. Not one of these pills solved my problems. Not one of these pills made me feel better. Not one of these pills made me love my husband. Why? And the answer was simple. Although reading is an active process, I was still only thinking. I wasn't taking real action. I was merely collecting and storing information. I needed to change my behavior. I needed to find a way to act or react that created and stored a positive chemical reaction in those synaptic gaps. Or I needed a way to recover or uncover the old stored chemicals and memories. Early in the class, Dr. Will shared a personal story. He had been in the mall and a small group of ladies walked by. One of the women was wearing a perfume that conjured up a memory of an old love. It was a good reaction for Dr. Will. His gaps were still filled with that old love emotion. He was so excited that he chased the woman down just to ask the name of the perfume. That was it. This was my answer. I had hope. I was confident that those love emotion chemicals were still there, in my own gaps, but I needed to dig deep to release them. But where to begin? It was obvious that I needed to use at least one of my senses and have a stimulus that could create a reaction. So I started to behave differently. I started spending more time around my husband in hopes that my senses would trigger a good reaction. Maybe it's a touch, maybe it's a sound, maybe it's a sight. After a couple of weeks, nothing. My hope was fading. I convinced myself I was trying too hard, trying to make something out of nothing, and decided to take a step back, to not think about it for a few days, because yes, I have a tendency to overthink. And then boom, clear out of the blue, my perfume story happened. I was relaxing in the home office, scrolling my way through Facebook, just half paying attention to the images moving across the screen. And then I saw it. A Ritter Sport chocolate bar. My friend had posted that she had just discovered her new favorite indulgence, a Ritter Sport. I smiled and remembered my first Ritter Sport. It was a candy bar that my husband, then boyfriend, and I had shared on a ski trip in Austria. After that first one, the Ritter Sport became our ski tradition, the snack we shared on the slopes on every trip. I smiled bigger. I knew I was onto something. Later that evening, I went to the commissary and purchased our favorite flavor, the hazelnut. One bite, and all of the emotions came back, flooding my brain. It was a literal overload of emotion and physiological reactions followed by an amazing calm. Exactly the reaction to the action I had hoped for. I do still love my husband. I just needed to uncover the magic mix of chemicals. P.S. I've learned enough in my mere 16 weeks of psychology class to know that neither my intro class nor chocolate have saved my marriage. They may have stimulated the process or guided me, but I saved it. My mental process and my reactions saved my marriage. I think I deserve an A.